Coco is the latest film from Pixar Animation Studios, and it tells the story of a young boy called Miguel who is desperate to pursue his dreams of becoming a musician, but unfortunately his family have outlawed music. They are totally against it, but Miguel just feels this urge and this dream and desire to pursue music, to become a musician. He feels this calling to his favourite musician, Ernesto de la Cruz. He desperately wants to pursue that as a career, and so this film basically follows the character of Miguel as he goes on this journey into the land of the dead, exploring his past, his relationships with his family, and whether he should pursue his dreams as a musician or put his family and loving and caring for his family above what he personally wants. And going into this film, obviously I was very excited because I'm a massive Pixar fan. I just recently put up my top 10 best Pixar movies video up on my channel, so if you've seen that video you'll know how I feel about the majority of the films Pixar's put out. I just think they're one of the best movie studios working today. They put out so many amazing films over the past 20 years or so, and Coco is no exception. I absolutely love this film, and it ended up, I think, being one of the best films Pixar has put out thus far. This film for me was just so incredibly emotional, and it's probably not very surprising because a lot of Pixar movies are very emotionally impacting, but this one especially, I think this is one of the most emotionally impactful Pixar films I've seen in years. It was just really hitting me in the feels, and I was really struggling to keep myself together. I don't really want to go into specifics. You've probably already seen it by now, but just in case you haven't, I don't want to go into spoilers here, but there's just so many things in this film involving Miguel, the relationship he has with certain characters in this movie, and the journeys they go on together, and what he ultimately comes to realise over the course of the film, going on this journey with these other characters. It was just, God, it really hit me, and I was really struggling to just keep myself together. I was just breaking down in tears. And I said this in a tweet that I put out. A lot of movies get me emotional. A lot of movies get me like a little bit teary-eyed, but hardly any movies actually break me down in tears. But with this one, I was actually struggling to keep myself together. It was really hitting me, and I was actually getting really quite emotional. And that's when you realise how great of a film it really is. And of course, I've got to talk about the animation. Obviously, it's a Disney Pixar film, so it's going to look great, but this might be their best looking film yet. The animation in this film is just absolutely stunning. Just absolutely incredible, like photorealistic animation. Similar to what we got in Moana, actually, back in 2016. Obviously, that was Disney, this is more Pixar, but it's still the same kind of thing where it just looks so photorealistic. There's so many things in this movie that just look real, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe that's animation. Obviously, you can tell the characters are animated, but certain locations and certain environments and certain objects and things just look so incredibly realistic. You can't believe you're watching a CG animated film. We've really come on such a long way in 20 years. I mean, that first Toy Story film still looks good, but you compare that to what we have now today with Coco. And Coco, like I said, it almost looks like a photorealistic live-action film in many ways. It just looks absolutely incredible. It was just absolutely stunning to look at. I couldn't believe how amazing the animation was in this movie. And I've got to touch on the story as well. I did address this in my top 10 best Pixar movies, but what I really liked about this film in particular is that it was really adventurous and daring in terms of where the story went and the directions this movie took, because I thought I'd sussed this film out. I thought I knew what I was going to get. I thought I knew what was going to happen. And for the first half or so, I was thinking, yeah, this is pretty much what I expected. But then when we got into that last half, especially the third act and certain revelations that came about and certain surprising directions that the story took, I was thinking, wow, I did not see that coming at all. I'm really glad certain things weren't spoiled for me, because I didn't realise this film had so many kind of shocking, kind of surprising moments. But like I said, when we got into that last half of the film and certain revelations came about and certain surprises came, I was like, wow, I really did not see that coming. I've got to give this movie a massive amount of credit for that, because a lot of the time with these kids animated movies, they're really great films, really well done, really well animated, but they often can be quite predictable story-wise. My only criticism with Moana, and I love Moana, but my only criticism with that film is that it followed the predictable Disney formula, and I could kind of see where it was going, and it was like a little bit predictable story-wise. But with this film, that was absolutely not the case at all. It was very, surprising and adventurous in terms of where the story went, in terms of the directions this movie took, and it really took me aback, because this really is a film geared primarily for kids. It's a kids film, really. I mean, it's a Pixar movie, so it obviously appeals to people of all ages, and again, that's one of the best things about Pixar, is that they can appeal to both kids and adults. But certain directions this movie took story-wise were quite kind of daring and adventurous and quite dark. Certain things happen in this movie that really took me aback. I was like, wow, I did not expect them to go there. I did not expect them to go in that direction, but they went there. And like I said, there were some things that were actually quite dark in this movie for a kids film, but again, that's why I admire so much about Pixar, is that they can take chances, they can take risks, they can go to places that most animated films just wouldn't go and wouldn't be able to pursue, but this film does, and it goes there and it goes to those places, and it's a risk. It might not work, but they just pulled it off. And of course, I alluded to this earlier, but one of the best things about this film are the characters, the relationships between the characters and the dynamics between the characters. It really is a film about family. At its core, this is a film about family. It's about relationships, about the dynamics between certain family members, and it also dealt with kind of very heavy, like I said, dark themes like the afterlife, the land of the dead. Miguel exploring this land that he's never seen before, these ancestors that have passed away. It went to places that were quite dark and were quite, heavy and intense for a kids film, but I really liked what this movie explored with, the themes of passing away, the afterlife, land of the dead. We stay alive if we remembered it in the minds of the people who are still alive in the real world, and then if there's no one left in the real world who remembers us, we fade away and we have the final death. And it's really quite powerful, deep, poignant stuff that is explored in this movie, things that are really kind of hit me. But yeah, I think it was just really quite powerful, really quite emotional. The relationships between the characters, about remembering the family they've lost. Like I said, it was really about family at its core, this movie. About the family members who have passed away, who are still remembered in the real world, and so are still alive, in a sense, in the land of the dead. And about Miguel's adventures that he has in the land of the dead with these ancestors that he's lost in the past, him interacting with them. And it was just a really cool concept, really well explored. And one thing also I have to touch upon is kind of a spoiler, so I won't really go too deep into it, but there's a certain character in this movie who I thought at the beginning was just going to be this comedic side character, was going to fall into the Disney kind of trope of, oh, that's just a comedic side character. That did not happen at all. It was completely opposite, and actually this character wasn't just a comedic relief. He ended up being one of the most important characters in the film, aside from Coco, you would argue. He actually ended up being one of the most important and pivotal characters to the storyline, and that really took me back, and I really was not expecting that. And so I really liked the part that character played, and his relationship that he had with Miguel, and how that all tied into Mama Coco, and how that was all really what the film was about, and that's why the film was called Coco. And this character I was talking about, and his relationship with Miguel, and his relationship that he had with Coco, is really at the heart of this film. It's really what the film is all about. And I did not know anything about that, going in. I thought he was just going to be this just comedic relief side character, just this comic relief on the side, but he really was so much more than that. And I really appreciated the film for that, because I thought he was just going to be just a throwaway comic relief character, but no, he was one of the most important characters in the movie, and he played a really big part. And I actually really like what they did with this character. And of course, the last thing I have to touch upon here is the music. Being a Disney Pixar movie, it's got some great music in here. It's got some songs that I'm sure will probably be nominated for Best Original Song. I mean, everyone's going on about Remember Me. And yeah, I think Remember Me probably will be nominated, because it's not just like a fantastic song on its own, but it also works really well thematically within the context of the film. It works on an emotional level as you're watching the movie, as well as it being a really good song. It's not just a good song, it actually works within the context of the film, and it adds to the film, and it really enhances the movie as well. Story wise, it works. So I really feel like Remember Me will probably be nominated, and I hope it wins for Best Original Song, because I think it was really great, really special. Bringing this to an end now, I really love this movie. I think it is one of the Pixar's best films. It really impressed me. It really blew me away. I mean, it took some directions story-wise that I really was not expecting. It was really surprising, bold and daring and adventurous in some terms of the directions the movie went in. The characters I adored, the relationships between the characters, and how family was very much at the heart of this film. The relationships and the family dynamics between the characters I thought was really great. Animation-wise, this film was stunning, absolutely beautiful to look at. Really great music. A film that really sweeps you away on this adventure with these characters. Incredibly emotional, incredibly compelling. I absolutely adored this film, and so overall it's probably not much of a surprise that I'm going to give Coco 5 stars. And there we have it. I got something a review of Coco. I know it was released a few months back in the US. We only just got it here in the UK, so if you have seen Coco, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this and you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe to see more. And if you missed my last review, be sure to go ahead and click over here to catch up on my last review, or perhaps down here to catch up on one of my recent videos. But with that said, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.